Hi again, and welcome to another edition of What Works for LSF. I'm Joe Monco.
I'm Catalina.
Okay.
Today we are talking about storyboarding and shotlisting. Both, because as Joe says, they go hand in hand.
I think they do. And you're going to want to do this for every production, if possible. Sometimes things happen and it's just virtually impossible to get either your storyboards or your shot list. But as long as you can get one of them done, you're on the right path to ensuring that you have a successful shoot. So let's start with storyboards. All right, so here, this one has the shot listing. So The Torturer, here's my production Bible for The Torturer. We did storyboards for this. All right. And what's pretty cool is with The Torturer, Paul Kane was already working on a comic book, so we did have references to go off of already. Some artwork and whatnot. And you could find this stuff on the Paul Kane Shadow Rider website. I should actually put it up on the Little Spark Films website. But anyway, we'll get back to that later. So, my storyboard artist that I like to work with, her name is Lilith Taylor. She is the vibraphone player in the band Manifestive, and she's also now our art director. So, shoot, itinerary, headshot. Oh, it should be right here. So, storyboards. So, you remember in the last video I talked about drawing lines all over your script and making notes in the margin? Well, that will lead you to this. And I'm going to go ahead and just take this out of its sleeve. I put the storyboards in these nice sleeves, transparent sleeves, and then every time we got a shot done, I would just cross it out without damaging my storyboards. Because Lilith worked really hard on them, and I wouldn't want to destroy the work she already did. So, you can make your own template, or you could download one. But anyway, what Lilith and I did is we spent several days hanging out together at her kitchen table, and I brought all my action figures. And one was a Torturer, and one was Andy Brooks. And I would place them in order, and I would have them, and I would literally play with my toys in front of her. Sorry. And I do this still all the time. I even do it myself. And what she would do...
But it helps with visualization too.
It does help with visualization. And you could use your cell phone, or you can take pictures with your cell phone, video, pictures, whatever. Something to get the point across as, this is the shot I want.
And this is where stuff is in space.
Right.
Because since you're using three-dimensional objects.
Yeah.
So we're really visual people.
Yeah, but also it helps everyone that's going to help make the movie know what you're trying to get as, the filmmaker. So, let me bring this closer. As you can see here, Lilith went through all my shots and my notes. We did it all together with the action figures, and she drew out every frame, not almost every frame, but she drew out a lot of stuff that shots I wanted to get in the movie. And this helped our DP, our director of photography, get the shots we needed. He was very last minute, so we weren't able to shot list properly. But I wish we had. It would have made things go a lot smoother. And, some people are like, oh, storyboards are a waste of time. Shot listing's a waste of time because you're going to change it anyway. That might be the case, but you still want to do it just so you have your own roadmap. That way you know what you're going to make. You go in knowing what you're going to make instead of spending 20, 30 minutes figuring out what you want your next shot to be and having to spend another couple hours setting up the shot only to go back to another scene and set up that you already did. So with your storyboards...
You don't keep going back to the kitchen.
You don't keep going back to the kitchen.
You don't keep breaking everything down and going back to the kitchen.
That wasn't
We're talking about something that specifically literally happened.
Yeah.
They said that they were ready to shoot, and they were not. They had no storyboards, no shot listing. I don't think they even had a full script yet.
They had a 120-page script, and they cut 90 scenes out.
Anyway, so to avoid things like that happening, and then your movie getting shelved and it never getting done because it's been 4 years now and it still isn't done.
5 years.
5 years. Oh my God.
Going on
5
6.
years now. Yeah, going on 6. That their movie still isn't done. These people that hadn't done any of this stuff, you don't want that. You want to finish your project and you want to get it to where it can be seen so you can do it again because it's actually really fun.
Doing all this is fun.
It is fun. You hang out with your friends, find someone who's an artist. I mean, Lilith is also a pet portrait artist. Like, she's a multi-talented human being. So, just find someone who's an artist, and they'll probably do their own research on how they're going to do their storyboards, and having the visualization is incredibly helpful.
Actually, if I remember correctly, Lilith, before I ever knew of her, went to school for comic book artistry, and she took her talents and did storyboards for us, and I'm grateful for it. So hopefully I've made it very known that for my next picture, I'm getting storyboards made because they're going to help. And with these, you take your storyboards, and if you're able to do it and put it in your binder, cool. But you're making a feature film. It's a lot of pages, as you can see. This is a 40-minute movie, and there's just so many pages.
It was a 20-page long script, also.
Yeah.
So in the last video, we said, 1 minute per page. How that's kind of like what everyone always says. In our case, it didn't turn out that way, but that's okay because we're really happy with what we ended up with.
Right. So in my binder now, I have my script, and other things we're going to touch base on, but my storyboards. I was able to go back to my storyboards for every shot I needed to get done. And what was cool about getting my total coverage, thanks to storyboards and being on the same page as everyone else, is that with the additional time I had due to already being prepared, we then had time to experiment with various other things, shots, effects. It was, it's a cool experience. So, storyboards, you want to keep them on hand, maybe on a tablet. We're old school, so we like to keep them, with us.
It's also because we write a lot of notes on the margins and stuff like that. So being able to have that accessibility for us is nice. Like Joe said, if you want to keep it on a tablet or a computer or whatnot, just make sure that you also keep all that updated information for your production manager, your first AD,
right,
your director of photography.
Well, because having your storyboards are going to lead into the next thing. Here is the Bible for the Hellbound Laments, or if you were working with us on that day, we called it Hellraiser Day. Aha! So,
so first of all, we work with Pyramid Gallery and configurationboxes.com to make little mini commercials for their configuration boxes. The Pyramid Gallery does have a traditional Hellraiser, lament configuration, but they also have expanded universe type of boxes where even like Paul Kane, the guy who wrote From the Torturer, he also has done quite several actually boxes. In this expanded universe of Hellraiser, because that's actually how we all met, because we have problems.
Right.
Yay!
Anyway, so yeah, exactly.
So this Hellbound Laments was a series of commercials, basically, we were making.
Right. So we have 13 episodes of that. Each one's like minute to 3 minutes long,
more or less.
So we did not get to storyboard the shoot, which was a bummer. Time, money, but before we shot, I was able to sit down with the same director of photography that we worked on The Torturer with, and we were doing a bunch of projects together. So I brought out my action figures. Here's Qui-Gon Jinn and Magneto. And then we made a shot list. So this is very important to have. And if you have the storyboards in your shot list, it's going to help you just succeed quicker. You're going to be more organized. So with a shot list, excuse me, it just looks like some sort of Excel document. You can use something, I forgot what some of the programs are called, but seriously, you could just Google, how to shot list a movie or for programs or whatever. And you can make your own templates also. And see, I even put the time of day of where I wanted to be. So from like, my note was that this right here for the Midian configuration, which Catalina directed, we wanted to start shooting at 10:30, and we wanted to be done with at least this shot by 11 o'clock. Okay, so with something like this, you know what your time frame is going to be, and it's not the only thing you're going to put. It's not the only thing you're going to put timestamps on of where you want to be and when. You're going to number your shot. You're going to put, what is it? You're going to number it the way you do. Like this was 7A shot 7.1. What was it? And that was our first setup. And the duration was we were supposed to be working on this shot for 30 minutes. So once Catalina was able to get the first shot done on this episode, which was the first one we shot for the day, she then had time to experiment with other things that she wanted to do. And right here you can see that it's the lens that we use. We want to make sure we know what lenses we're using. 18 to 35 millimeter. You need that for your first AC and your DP so everyone's on the same page. What gear we were going to use for the shot. We used a Ronin dual OP. And then we had the description of the shot and the characters that we had and so forth. And we did this for every episode, and some episodes have way more shots. And you want to know what like some of this means, like medium wide close up, medium close up, over the shoulder close up. You want to make sure you have all that kind of stuff notated down as to what shot you're getting, because you don't want to do a shot facing me and then tear down your setup, get behind me and do an over the shoulder, an OTS shot, because you've already wasted time. You want to get all the coverage on one side and then all the coverage on the other side. So you're going to be doing a lot of back and forth with your performances with the actors. But yeah, which ones did you direct again? I know you directed the Midian configuration.
Yeah, sure. That one.
Yeah. And then and that day, because we had the stuff set up, Catalina and I, what we did at the location was we found a big open wall, and we took all our call sheets and our shot lists, and we taped them up all on the wall in order, in page order. And when things were getting kind of hectic on the day, Catalina and I would reconvene, and then we go, okay, we're going to adjust the schedule, and that means we're going to adjust our shots. And see, we have all these pages of shot listing. And, you think it's going to take all day, a whole week. It's really going to take you just a few hours depending on what the project is, and if you have a dedicated director of photography who's going to show up and actually get some work done and want to talk for real.
For shot listing, yeah.
Shot listing is incredibly important, and it goes great with your storyboards, and it also makes your production Bible just look that much better.
Sorry.
Wet your whistle.
Thank you.
Okay, so that was storyboarding and shot listing. So make sure you keep that on you.
And that was what we were going to go over today.
And that's what we are going to go over today.
We already did.
We already went over it.
Like.
I'm the director. I'm on the same page. So.
And it's important to just communicate. Sorry. It's important to obviously communicate. If there's not communication going on, then things can easily fall apart.
Yeah.
And also listen to each other, because sometimes, this last go around, we had a lot of miscommunication problems, which is weird because we hadn't really, I don't think we've previously run into that. Sure, sometimes there's always going to be differences of opinion, whatever, what have you. But if people aren't willing to listen and, actually have an actual conversation together, then, maybe you just shouldn't work together. If you don't respect the other person's opinion. Like for us, we with like he mentioned, Lilith, our art director, we will literally just give her a box of things and say, this is kind of what we want it to look like, and then we just let her do her thing, because we trust that she as an artist has her own idea of how she wants to do things, and we respect her as an artist, so we're just going to let her take charge, and we're not going to step on her toes.
Right. And the same goes for even our people who do the special effects. You know, we guide them in with what we're looking for, what we want to see, and what we want to look like in the camera, and then, you know, we let Tori and Wendy just have at it. And, you know, so everyone's their own worst critic. You know, Wendy's going to sit there and go, oh, I don't like it. It looks like blah, blah, blah. But to me, it looks amazing, you know. But yeah, if you can do 2 or 3 takes, go for it. But you got to move on to the next shot. You can't stay in one place all day long. So.
Yeah. And it's easy to get stuck in like that decision paralysis. But that's back to listening to your crew members, because sometimes they'll see stuff that you don't see.
Exactly.
A lot of times we'll miss things, and someone will go, hey, did you intend for XYZ? And we're like, oh, shoot, thanks for pointing it out.
Right.
You know, because at the end of the day, you should be working with a group of people where they want to do their best, or where you're all striving for the same thing, which is to get it done, to get it to a home, and then to go on to the next project.
Yeah, you want to strive for totality. You have to, get total coverage, because you don't want to go back and shoot something because, somebody got hungry and forgot to dump the footage and then the card got erased.
Literally. Never happened. In 13 years?
13 years.
In 13 years. And it did happen to us finally. It was horrible. Yeah. We're still angry about it.
And so...
to avoid things like that, communicate, listen to each other, respect each other.
And that leads us into our next segment. Don't leave set to go get food, because your crew is... Your leaders are actually taking care of you and feeding you on set.
We're going to have a separate thing about feeding on set, okay? Because that's kind of like my thing. But anyway... Today, we went over storyboarding and shot listing. Next time, we're going to do the itinerary. Do you want to do itinerary and call sheets?
Actually, yeah. Daily itinerary and call sheets go hand in hand.
Oh, yeah. And then that goes back to, we were going to talk about the release forms. We mentioned release forms last week. We're going to talk about that with the itinerary and the call sheets because, release forms. Joe will tell a trauma story in the next one.
Shit.
Oh. Okay, bye.